Hello, so today we're going to be doing a VOD review. This is going to be doing some commentary in post. If you like my content, make sure to like and subscribe. Normally I just do the commentary while I'm playing the game, but I think the set has really been a disappointment to me. I'm not playing as much on stream, so I'm just grinding a couple games offline every day because I'm just trying to gain as much LP as fast as possible so that I can just hit GM and then just give up on the set. That's kind of my game plan right now. But we'll see if the set gets changed and I start streaming TFT again. That will be a return, but now I'm doing Silk Song and art on stream. But that is to say, let's go through this game. Recently, so as of yesterday, I just on the main channel talked about tier lists of augments, and the video that came out yesterday was prismatic augments. This is going to be a triple prismatic game because we saw this Gwen encounter. So a lot of the way that I pick my augments is similar to that tier list on which ones I think are really strong based on the spot and how I can kind of build around what makes sense with my current board. So if you remember yesterday, one of the things I talked about is how broken artifacts are, specifically if you can get into a spot via the artifact augment in the prismatic version. I ranked it as S tier, as one of the few S tier augments. This is going to be a game that kind of highlights that in a little bit. A big part of it is that the flexibility and the win conditions you get from the artifacts is so high that often that's a correct decision to just angle towards whatever you hit with the artifact, as long as you get the opportunity to find one of those broken things. So a couple tips. Starting the game out, you'll see that I fruit the Kale. That's just in case I end up having to play around Kale. There's a couple of prismatics that make it easier to play around Kale. So what I always check, right, when you're playing with these fruits, scaling ones over 9,000, those are conditions, right? The same thing I would do with a Janna. I would check if I have Veteran. You always want to check if you have the enabling fruit for a lot of the reroll lines, so I check it first. If I'm playing Kale, that's great. I play Kale. If I'm not playing Kale, I sell it. So I see somebody else with over 9,000. One of the good things for Kale is the Shimmer Scale augment, because she does particularly well with the Gambler's Blade. She generates a good amount of gold, and the Moguls usually generates you enough gold. This gives you a lot of econ. So that's why I was checking. Is there another Kale player? It looks like somebody's playing Kale, maybe. Same idea that I had. I don't want to fuck around with it because I roll and I see Living Forge. There's no thoughts here now. We just click Living Forge. I'm going to rip this. I'm going to see if I get a win condition one. Nice. There's two win condition ones here. One of them, there's actually three. I'm spoiled for choice, actually. This is what you want to see when you rip open an Ornn artifact. You want to see some shit like this. So, Blinding Jewel. I can play around Malzahar or Karma. It actually makes Karma really good and stable. That allows you to play the Sork board in the same way that it used to be able to be played. You're stable on level 8 with that. So, Blinding Jewel, really great if I want to play around Karma. Intervening Locket, if you have a Garen and you have early Battle Academia, it could scale the Garen basically infinitely, and your Garen becomes as tanky as a 4-cost tank. So Intervening Locket, another option if I have a Garen. Dawn Core is probably the most flexible of the three. So as you can see, I almost instantly go towards Dawn Core. The reason is that with Dawn Core, I can play Akali. It's really good on Akali. You can play Katarina reroll. It's quite good on Katarina. But you can also play Kog'Maw. Of the three options, Kog'Maw is likely the best option because Kog'Maw is hard to contest and it's very easy to hit because of a bug that exists where you can buy copies of different monsters instead of having to buy 9 copies of the same monster, which I'll talk about when I get there. This is a bug that's known. It's a bug that is legal in tournament situations, or was legal in tournament situations, so it doesn't really, to me at least, doesn't count as bug abuse because everybody's allowed to do it. If people are playing for money and representing this game on the main stage and Riot Games allows it there, then I'm gonna play it in ladder. That's my rule of thumb. Now, obviously, if it's a bug, if it's any other bug in the game, I probably would avoid it or not deal with it. But now it's basically a feature. And if they remove it from the game in the future, that would be great. I think it's a bad thing to have in the game currently, but it's something that you have to take into account. So when I'm looking at this, that's why I slam Archangels instantly. If I was playing around Akali or other lines, I maybe would consider different items here. But from my opener, I just want to survive. I want to have HP. I want to have good econ. So as you can see, I'm going to sell a lot on my bench. I'm going to try and make 10. Oh, do I sell the Rel pair? I should sell a Rel. Come on. Okay, there we go. That's the Fenrir I know. But anyways, Kog'Maw is the most flexible because you can play different front lines with him and he still functions really well. Additionally, with Kog'Maw, because he's easier to hit because of the bug that I was talking about, there's a lot less risk in terms of stabilization and hitting the units that you want to hit. So here, One thing that you'll notice, a lot of times when you see Kog'Maw, it's played with protectors. You play Kog'Maw, you play 6 protectors. My initial default when I'm playing Kog'Maw is to play towards bastions instead. Of the front lines, there's many different versions, right? You can pretty much play any front line, but some of them are going to be better than others. Bastion is typically considered to be the highest cap one, because you can cap very easily with it, and it also is really stable on level 7. When you play Bastion, you're going for Swain 3 as a front line, and Swain 3 is an insanely strong tank that is really good. The one that you normally see with Kog'Maw, or the one that used to be very popular, is Protectors. Protectors is probably one of the better frontline traits in terms of them all supporting each other, right? The Protectors give shield to their adjacent allies, and they get a bunch of durability, so it's a very cohesive and strong frontline. That's the one that you normally see with Kog'Maw. However, the problem is every comp plays Cassante, right? So in order to hit 6 Protector, you need to find a Cassante, and you usually have to find that Cassante on level 7. The comp looks really good and really broken, but a big majority of that is because Cassante is really good and really broken. So you run into a situation where it's like, okay, you know, all the Starguardian players are playing Cassante. The Wraith players, if there are any, are playing Cassante. Mech players or Sork players usually can slot in a Cassante sometimes, right? Akali players are playing Cassante. Who else is playing Cassante? Like, the whole fucking lobby plays Cassante. Even, like, you know, if you're playing Bastions, you need to find a 4-cost unit as well, right? You need to find Leona. But if you think about it, oh, you know, maybe there's a Leona player in the lobby. If there is a Leona player in the lobby, they're also going to be playing Cassante, because the Yuumi board is, the front line is Garen, Leona, and Rakan and Cassante. Literally every comp in the game plays Cassante, and part of it's because he's broken, so it's always like slotted in there. But that's what I mean, it's gonna be impossible. This guy even has a Protector and a Wraith emblem. Like, you really think I'm gonna play fucking Cassante? He literally has a fucking Cassante dummy. Like, what are we talking about here? So I go for Bastions. That's usually my default. Of them options, like Protectors, if you don't hit a Cassante, it's basically like shit. It's not going to function correctly. It's not going to be good. The other options, Heavyweight, for example, is usually a Darius carry, because Heavyweight, your 3-cost tanks are not really tanks, right? Darius is a damage dealer, and Jace is a damage dealer. So if you're rolling on level 7, you hit 3-star Darius, 3-star Jace, 3-star Kog'Maw, it doesn't fit the whole build, where Kog'Maw's trying to ramp up, and his whole thing is like gaining attack speed until he hits critical mass. It doesn't make sense with them. Instead, you would want to pair that with like a Smolder, where you do burst damage. That's why Smolder is often played with Heavyweight, because you have the burst damage of Darius with the burst damage of Smolder, and that kind of like functions as a comp on its own. But Heavyweight as a frontline trait to stall out time is not good at doing that. That's not what it does. So that's bad. And then of course, Starguardian is really popular, so I won't hit Poppy. Juggernaut is the only other one that kind of is like very strong and supporting, but that too doesn't work very nicely as a level 7 reroll line. It's better as a 1-cost reroll or a 2-cost reroll, because Mundo is really good. But if you're rolling on level 7, Udyr is not a primary tank, so that line also doesn't fit really nicely on the board. So of the options, that's why Bastion is usually, it's either Bastion or Protectors, and Bastion is like the one that I think is better to go for if you're playing Kog'Maw. As long as you're not contesting like a Yasuo reroller, so to speak. So that's the thought process here. I'm just trying to like save HP. I'm keeping a lose streak going, which is fine. But we're going to be decently okay. A big part of this comp is that you still need a lot of econ. Whenever you play 3-cost rerolls, you can stabilize. I, for a fact, know that Dawn Core is so unbelievably broken that we'll be fine. I've been around the block before. This shit is literally win condition level of broken. So I know that I'll be okay if I drop a little bit lower on HP. As soon as I find one Kog'Maw, I'll probably be stable. As soon as I upgrade that to a Kog'Maw 2, I'll probably be fine. I've watched tournament games, so amongst the best players in the world, and when they like, I've seen people get first and second places in tournament with a Kog'Maw 2 with a Dawn Core. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a good setup for it and you make it to like that point, you don't even need the 3 stars a lot of the time. It's just so unbelievably strong. So I'm okay with all of that. I feel like my spot is okay, and that's why I'm not too worried about dipping low on HP. Here I'm fighting somebody who's 9 lives Crystal Gambit. Risky as shit. I don't understand what's going on here. But of course, whatever, to each their own. This looks like a disaster waiting to happen, but we'll see what happens. Let's rock it. So I'm gonna win this round. I won't 5 loss, but I'll just start my win streak. Or like that's the copium, you know, that's like the, you know, like pretending that things are gonna work out in a good way. But at least for now, the main idea that I have here is that we're just gonna roll with the Kog'Maw. And we're gonna see. There we go, Lulu. It's fine. So we kick Lulu. We're instantly gonna put in Kog'Maw. I'm already like halfway to stability, so I should win a couple rounds on stage 2. Here for fruit, we're looking for one of 2 fruits, Fairy Tale or Caretaker, and that affects a little bit of the itemization around my unit. But we're usually looking for Fairy Tale more than anything. So here I just have Stormbender. I might use my second fruit remover very soon. We'll see. The build with Kog'Maw typically is Dawn Core, Shojin, and then Archangels, which usually after time helps you to scale and increase your total damage output. So that's usually like a good option. With Caretaker, Archangels a lot better. With Fairy Tale, I think you usually want Shojin attack speed sometimes. Like, you don't need the Archangels. Even Shojin, like, something else, like, what's it called? Shojin and a Gunblade or a Edge of Night sometimes could work out a little bit better. But the idea is that the way this works is that Kog'Maw at one point will gain so much attack speed that he'll just be chain casting. And with the Dawn Core lowering the mana, he'll just cast a lot more. He'll reach that critical mass faster. So the fruits that I'm talking about here, they stockpile in the fact that they have on-cast effects. So Kog'Maw has an on-cast effect, and then like Fairy Tale, for example, every cast you summon fairies. Those fairies do extra damage. So if you watch this Kog'Maw, compare it to anybody else that you would have probably clicked Fairy Tale on. No unit does it like Kog'Maw. Watch this, right? We start up. Dawn Core is going to be decreasing his mana. His attack speed is going to be rising. He's going to be ramping up. Look at the fairies. Look at how many. We're going to make a fucking circle. We're going to make a circle. Like, what the fuck is going on? We're going to make a circle. I have 2 rows of fairies. They don't even have enough room to fit in the circle. They're going all over the place. Did you see that fight? Did it look close at all? No. And that's a Kog'Maw 1 with no frontline units. Imagine if I have a Kog'Maw 3 and a Swain 3. It's literally fucking Exodia. But anyways, second augment coming up. We're taking Prismatic Ticket probably. The main thing that can go wrong in this game is I don't have enough econ to hit and to stabilize. Sponging is very good in these lines, by the way, because if you have like an impenetrable wall of a front line, sponging will just duplicate items on all of them. So if I'm playing 6 Bastion, for example, and I itemize a Swain, the Swain's going to give an item to all the other Bastion units. Imagine it's a Warmogs, right? Then you make all of your units super tanky. So sponging is a good combat, but to play it safe here, I have enough combat with just the Dawn Core and the Fairy Tale that I hit. I'm totally happy to do Prismatic Ticket here. Now, because I'm Prismatic Ticket, I'm paired on Shen. I have a couple units here. I'm down to roll a little bit to find an upgrade because I have the Prismatic Ticket. I'm sacrificing a bit of econ, as you can see, but I'm still going to be able to make 30, and I'll still be able to make it to level 7 and be relatively stable. Instantly, when I rolled, I high-rolled a Leona. Whenever you have a game that goes well, it's usually because you high-rolled. I'm not saying I didn't high-roll. I already hit like Dawn Core, and I had basically like an Ornn Artifact opening that was like amazing. It was just great. Everything in there was amazing. The Leona is great. What I was really gonna roll for was any Bastion unit, so that I can put in 4 Bastion and a Shen 2. And my idea there was Shen 2, Bastion unit, and I'll deal with everything else afterwards. Because now I should have enough frontline that I should win out or win most of the fights this stage. If you watch this Kog'Maw, just look at it. Does this look balanced to you? No, but it's an artifact interaction. That's just how they are, right? So either the unit has to get nerfed or the artifact has to get nerfed so that this interaction doesn't become overbearing. But at the same time, then it makes the unit useless and the item useless unless you have the specific scenario where you have both of them. So it's just like, you know, that's just how artifacts are. It's like this every set. It's not a big issue. I know people complain about the set a lot. I know, like, you know, balancing, blah, blah, blah. I've debated multiple times this week on whether or not I was going to do a large-scale video talking about my problems with set 15. But I just don't want to spread hate, so every time I'm about to do the recording, I have like the PowerPoint ready. I just don't do it because it's like I really don't want to make an environment that is worse for the world. So, you know, take that attitude out elsewhere if you're upset, because I'm upset too, trust me. But, you know, I just don't play as much of the game. I play like 1 game a day. This was the 1 game I played today, and then I go work on art. I'm working on Hollow Knight art. I'm working on 100%ing Silk Song. I'm just doing other stuff with my life, you know. And it's unfortunate because I would like TFT to be a bigger part of my life, right? I would like TFT to be so enjoyable that I'm grinding Challenger and I'm like putting more effort into my YouTube and this channel as well. But like it's very burnt out. I'm very burnt out when there's like, you know, multiple unreported bugs that I'm finding and like all sorts of shit. It just takes a handle on you. Anyways, check out this. Look at this shit. Yep, it looks like we're winning. I almost died there to the Ahri, like overkill, but no, we were fine. We were fine the whole time. This is what I mean, right? A Kog'Maw 1, like, I would not be winning these rounds without the Dawn Core. So the Kog'Maw 1 just puts you in such a good spot, and that's why I really like having artifacts with these types of comps. When I say, like, a good spot for Kog'Maw is with artifacts. And this is why I say, like, artifacts, you always have to try it. You always have to rip it. Because, like, there's just so much that you, like, this game is just so free. Because I hit Dawn Core. Right? And that's why I always say it. And the thing is, I'm going to get more artifacts later. Kog'Maw loves to have double, even triple artifacts sometime. Like, there are so many hits for Kog'Maw that, like, you have, like, a 1 in 3, I think. Like, you have, like, a 30% chance of hitting, like, an Exodia situation off one artifact anvil. And that's not even to say, like, the other units that love artifacts. Like, there's, like I was saying, I could have taken, if I didn't hit the Kog'Maw artifact, I could have easily played towards Blinding Jewel and play Karma Blinding Jewel. And that's easily, that's as easy of a game, if not easier. Because, like, maybe there's, like, a little bit less to deal with. It's not easier, but you know what I mean. I don't want to hyperbolize too much. Or Mana Zane. Oh boy, imagine Mana Zane. That would have been crazy. But anyways, look at this guy. He has a Gnar 3 with a Radiant Infinity Edge. Do you think he has a chance of winning? You know, he might, but probably not. Yeah, GG. Also, with these setups, always place Kog'Maw on the same side as the enemy carry, because Kog'Maw has infinite range. So when you're here, as you can see, he targets the backline, but that's because he has infinite range, right? It's part of his kit, or not, I don't know if it's infinite at start, but it's part of his kit, right? That used to be a level 30 Kog'Maw thing, but because they made it so he doesn't level up anymore with EXP, a lot of times placing on the same side, you'll notice that I'm, like, killing the enemy carries if the front line is, like, really spaced out, because when it's equidistant, he'll aim towards the back line when he walks up, because he'll see it in his targeting first, or see it in his targeting more often. Here, I get a fruit, so I'm trying to figure out who I want to fruit. I'm probably going to play Swain. Here I play Swain over Rel, because I don't think it's that important. I'm putting in Battle Academia, because I might play Battle Academia later. A lot of times with this comp, if I get a Garen, or if I hit, because I'm Prismatic Ticket, I'm already thinking that I might hit Garen 3. Right? Garen is not very expensive to hold on to, and he's not super, like, difficult to hit. So, like, what I'm thinking here is, like, if I play Battle Academia a couple turns, and I get Garen to stack up some HP, that can make a big, meaningful difference if I end up Garen 3ing later in the game. It's not that important. As you can see, I sold the Battle Academia units because, like, I'd rather just play the Swain and just play 5 Bastion because they benefit from the Bastion trait anyways. But it might have been a mistake this round. I'm not sure. This guy is protagonist Zac. It's a little bit awkward because he's, like, a little bit stronger than I am. As you can see, he got the Wraith proc, so my Kog'Maw died. If I had Kog'Maw 2, I probably would have enough HP to maybe clutch this one out between damage and extra HP to live. But it just is. So we lose our streak, but whatever. We're happy with we're Kog'Maw 1, Swain 1. You know what I mean? Here, this is an important note. So if you don't know the way artifacts work, on stage 3, you can still roll artifacts that give you gold generation. So Gambler's Blade, Mogul's Mail, the other thing, Gold Collector. Because it's stage 3, I don't have to pop this artifact right away. I can wait a turn, and I'm going to pop it next turn. Why do I want to do that? Because next turn is stage 4. And if it's stage 4, I now eliminate 3 artifacts that I don't want to see, and I have a greater chance of hitting artifacts that I would like to see, which is good for me. That's the idea here. My Kog'Maw items are done, so ideally I want to rip this open and get, like, some sort of really powerful frontline augment, if that makes sense. Here you'll notice that I'm toggling. So this is what I was talking about before. When you buy a unit, it doesn't take the unit that has the most XP, which is what it's supposed to do. The bug is that it takes it from different pools. So for me rolling for Rammus now, I am rolling for 1 copy of Rammus out of the 18 copies of Rammus that exist. So what you do is you go for 3 copies of Kog'Maw, 3 copies of Rammus, and then 3 copies of the last unit. Now here, I don't know if I made a mistake. I don't see any frontline. That's bad, because I wanted a frontline item for Swain. Lichbane is broken on Kog'Maw in particular, especially with Dawn Core. This is another piece of the Exodia puzzle. I don't know if it's ever double Dawn Core Kog'Maw, because I don't know if it double reduces the mana. That's something I have to check. Actually, I should check it right now. Let me check the stats just to see, because it might have been double Dawn Core. But I think it's always Lich Bane here. But let me just double check for you guys just so it can be accurate. Dawn Core, and then items. There's no sample size. I can't tell. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's not a scenario that I have enough information for. I don't know if they double stack. But I would assume it's always Lich Bane, right? Lich Bane or Static Shiv or one of the other ones. So I take Lich Bane here for sure, because there's no other option. Now my items are a little bit weird, because I slammed the Archangels. But I slammed that really early, so I'm not even upset about that. But Lich Bane, basically the way Lich Bane works is every time you cast, you do extra damage. So it works very similarly with the synergy of the Fairy Tail, right? You want to infinitely cast, and then once you're infinitely casting, you're basically doing a bunch of extra damage, because every time you cast, you do this flat damage from Lich Bane. So it only works with units like Kog'Maw, where they're at a point where they're like infinitely chain casting, right? The same way that I'm summoning all the fairies, it works out. Now, if you'll notice, my build does look a little bit awkward, because my Kog'Maw is not... Okay, this is another thing I have to talk about. Let's talk about this first, then I'll talk about the Kog'Maw. So I don't need invested because I have enough gold to have prismatic ticket. Coronation is really important, that I'm highly considering taking Coronation. But I'll explain why. Max cap, I don't think I need the econ. If I had to pick one, I'd take Coronation. I'm highly debating between Coronation and taking some sort of combat. What I really want here is like Giant and Mighty, or some sort of really powerful combat, because I should be able to hit all my units with prismatic ticket. But I also want to have like combat power instead of just taking something that like helps my board state, because I should be able to win out, right? I want to play for win out. I want to play for max cap. So here I end up taking Water Lotus. I don't think it's that crazy on this board, but it does give my Kog'Maw crit, so it does scale my damage somehow, right? I do some extra damage. However, you're going to notice that my items are really weird, right? I made Sterix, I made Crown Guard. I just tried to use my components to make as many tank items as possible. I made anti-heal with the bow. That was my original intention, so I made red buff. But as you can see, with this particular board, this is why Protectors is a little bit more popular as another reason. Part of it is because you have Janna that is a protector but also a backline unit. So your additional items could go on the Janna, and the Janna can hold red buff, she can hold like those type of things, or she can hold like extra excess Kog'Maw items. Right now I'm putting them on the Shen, because I don't know what to do with them, because I don't have somebody to hold my utility. So it's a little bit weird, right? If you're playing Bastions, then sometimes what you want to do is you want to put like make more like frontline items, but I just couldn't do it because those weren't the items I got. Additionally, over here, you'll notice that my Kog'Maw was losing some fights. He was losing fights because my build doesn't work with Archangels anymore. Because I have Lich Bane now, I have to put the Shojin with the Lich Bane and the Dawn Core. Because you need the Shojin for the mana generation to get the Kog'Maw chain going and get the chain cast going. Right? Because every cast he gains attack speed. So here what we're doing is we're doing a full on-cast damage build. Every time this Kog'Maw casts, he's going to do a couple hundred from Lich Bane, and he's also going to do a couple hundred from Fairy Tail that's going to scale infinitely. As you can see, I'm toggling. I'm trying to keep track of buying 3 Rammus, 3 Kog'Maw, and then 3 Smolder in order to complete my Kog'Maw 3, just to make the odds better. Because instead of having to find 9 copies of a unit, where it's really hard to find the 9th copy, I only have to find 3 of every unit, which is a lot more manageable. Here, I just put the items on a Xin Zhao because I don't know who to put it on. I think Xin Zhao spins around so he spreads it better, but I'm just very confused. I'm trying not to focus on the items too much because I think the Kog'Maw will just win out anyways. If you watch this fight compared to the previous ones, you'll see that I'm summoning way more fairies, and I'm doing way more damage. It's way more stable. The correct way to build this is Dawn Core, Lich Bane, and then the Shojin. So this is my Exodia Kog'Maw that I have to work with. It is what it is. But it's just broken, right? And obviously if I had Kog'Maw 3, I'll probably have like win out potential. Like I was saying before, Janna with Protectors makes this a little bit easier because you move those items onto Janna. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them on a frontline unit. Archangel I can technically put on Swain, but I think it's more of a meme. He does have good AP scaling, but I would rather have 3 tank items. I don't want to waste too many removers. Putting the items on Xin Zhao, I can sell the Xin Zhao in order to get those items back. And it saves me like a remover, as opposed to putting the items on Swain that I'm forced to use a remover later. So I'm just putting them on a unit that I can sell by, and I'll deal with it later. I'm just down anti-heal right now. But the idea is that once I hit Swain 3, Kog'Maw 3, I just level for any backline unit. You can play Yuumi, you can play Gwen. Bastions are really flexible. They have a lot of synergies that tie in nicely. Like Gwen works well. Like I said, Yuumi can work well. Even like a TF can work well. Like any Zyra, like any backline unit is fine. But you also have the unlock potential of like Gwen and a couple others, like Gwen Braum, that you can cap really high with. So I'm gonna put those items on those units later, so it's fine. Here I really wanted I wanted the stun one. What's it called? Not done yet. What's the stun one called? I wanted the one where, like, if this unit survives for 15 seconds, stun the entire board, because that one's like perfect in my spot. So that's what I'm digging for on the Swain. The other HP one, standalone, is pretty good, but I don't want my Swain taking the brunt of the damage right away. So I just kind of take the target dummy ones, and I just go for that. Anyways, this is a Kog'Maw 2. Do you see how fucking close these fights are? Exactly, they're not close at all. That's why you have to rip artifacts. And especially because it's easy to hit the Kog'Maw. Well, I'm already 6 Kog'Maw. I barely even rolled. I'm also holding this, I didn't toggle, but here, I toggle Smolder. I think I bought 3 Kog'Maws, 3 Ramesses at this point, so I'm looking for the Smolders in order to cap the board. And then I'm just buying the units, right? So as you can see here, I'm buying, because I'm Prismatic Ticket, it's efficient, my rolls. So I'm trying to upgrade as many units as possible. Bastions have good HP scaling as well, because a Bastion unit, when you 3-star them, they're going to have an increased amount of HP, and they already have infinite armor and MR, so 3-starring the units is pretty good. But if I can hit Garen 3, it's fine, it's not very expensive. Shen 3 is not that expensive, and then obviously, I want the Swain 3 as my main tank, so if I can hit the Swain 3, I'll be pretty happy there. But yeah, this guy is playing Soul Fighter, a little bit scary. He might beat me because he has the Gwen. So my Kog'Maw is going to take some damage, and I don't have enough frontline items to deal with this guy. Because I have, like, I think he's doing mostly AD damage and true damage, so it bypasses the armor, right? True damage is really good into Bastions, because obviously true damage, it doesn't look at the armor as much. And without my 3-stars, they're not tanky enough to deal with that. And then also my Swain items, I have a D-Claw, right? I'm fighting a Samira, so there's also that problem. Here I'm bench locked. I've run out of space, so I'm selling the Garens. The Garen is the least important. It was like a nice to have, but it's not like a must have. So even though I held them the whole game, it's fine. We'll sell the Garens. I'd rather have Shen 3, Swain 3, and obviously I have to keep the Smolders because I'm going to be rolling for the Kog'Maw. But looking at this lobby, the HP is getting really close. I think I'm at the point now where I greeded enough. Right? Whenever I'm like at a point where it's like one loss can put me in a bad spot. But if I lose one more round, I can be in the bot 4 HP. And if I'm in the bot 4 HP, that's really scary. Things can go really bad really fast. So here, my idea here is that I'm going to roll as deep as I need to in order to hit Kog'Maw 3. So it didn't take me that much gold. I have Kog'Maw 3 now. I'm really far off of Swain. I don't really have Shen items. So I'm kind of just going to chill. I found a Zyra. Zyra's going to be a great holder of these Shen items later. But I've kind of resolved the fact that I'm not going to have the Shen. I'm not going to level to 8 anytime soon because I'm far off of Swain. Right? I still need to find 4 copies of Swain. So I'm not going to be rolling to 0 for Swain next turn or something. So I use the remover, fix my Swain items. Now he's like a Giga Tank, right? Bramble, D-Claw, Crown Guard. He's going to be really hard to deal with. And it's going to make a really insane training dummy as well for me. So we're pretty happy with that. Here, my front line couldn't support the Cassante that wrapped me and hit me for a little bit. But like I said, once I have Swain 3, I should win every round. My Shen items are shit, but once I move those Shen items onto the Zyra, I'll also be fine. So my plans are to win this game later. I feel like I took enough. I feel like I balanced my greed and my setup enough. Here I'm just going to roll to 0 for Swain because like I said, I don't want to risk losing the game because I lost a round. Like I said, whenever I'm at a point where if I lose a round, I'll be in the bot 4 HP. So if I lose the next round, I'm in the bot 4 HP. I don't want the guy on 2 HP to win. I don't want the guy on 24 HP to win. Those are 2 people I'm fighting against. Those are 2 people that I want to die before me to guarantee my top 4. So this guy, for example, if I don't get Swain 3, I might lose this round. So I rolled a 0 here. I rolled really deep to look for the Swain. I kept finding Swain, so I kept rolling. But I just wanted to make sure that I hit Swain this turn. And this is what I was saying, right? If I send it for Swain, I won't have enough gold to level. If I decide not to send it to Swain, I decide to play it slow, then I wouldn't be leveling anyways because I would just be chilling with my gold. So I just kind of chilled until I felt like I couldn't. Roll for Swain 3. You kind of have to make a judgment call. I felt like that was the correct choice because I wanted to make sure that I am still in the top 4 HP, right? From my spot, if I'm playing for first, I don't want to dip too low, because if I greed too much and I'm in the bot 4 HP, I fight, for example, that guy could be an RNG fight. Even the Star Guardian player can be an RNG fight, right? My Kog'Maw doesn't have protection, right? He doesn't have a way of recovering HP if he gets hit by some bullshit. So if my Kog'Maw dies, the whole board falls apart. It's Kog'Maw or nothing. So here, you know, I'm trying to find the stun fruit for the Swain. I still miss it. It is what it is. I want the one where he stuns the whole board. But instead, I just take the training dummy. That's good enough. And now we're fighting this guy. He's level 9, but he doesn't have a Varus 2, so his only carry is the Zac. And I'm pretty sure my Kog'Maw is gonna melt the Zac. Yeah, like this board, you really need to hit the max cap, and he didn't. His Prismatic is also just a Wraith Emblem, which is really not good in his spot. Because if you look at his augments, he has no combat. Right? He has Protagonist, then he has Pandora's to try and fix his Protagonist. And then he has Wraith, which doesn't give him anything. Right? It just gives him 6 Wraith, which you can do normally. Or not necessarily do normally, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Because like, if you have a Varus 2, it's like, who the fuck cares about your 6 Wraith? Right? If you have a Varus 1. So it doesn't matter. But here... we're almost in top 4. We're pretty much guaranteed top 4 now. So now we're just doing like the victory lap, trying to figure out what we're going to do. I hit Swain 3. So now I can level for Zyra. And then on neutral round, so in 2 turns, I can fix my items. And I'll go for 3 Shen items. I'm going to get 1 more Ornn artifact, by the way. So with the 1 more Ornn artifact, I'm hoping that I hit a tank 1. Or even if it's not a tank 1, whatever it is, I'll try and make it work. Adaptive Helm here, I'm going to slam on Zyra. And then I'm going to go for Ornn artifact, Sterex, and 1 more tank item on neutral round, because I should be getting an item on neutral round, and that's like my goal. And then I'm going to move the red buff and the Archangels to the Zyra, so that I have that going for me as well. Here I made a mistake, by the way. I'm playing for first, and I just leveled. This guy is very close to Samira 3 and Set 3, and I didn't notice. I noticed it a little bit later, but we'll see how it goes. When I do notice it and what ends up happening, I won't spoil it for the people that want to watch this for creativity, or I don't know, like for fun aspects. This is a Star Guardian board. This guy's really fucking strong, but his Braum isn't starting on my Swain. That's why I was moving around my units a little bit. I want to make sure that I just dodge the Swain, dodge the dude, and then obviously Kog'Maw on same side as enemy carry. I kill the Jinx before the Jinx has a chance to finish off my Swain. If he had been Braumed my Swain, there's a chance I lose this fight, so it's a little bit risky, but we just be careful. Top 4 guaranteed. Now we're basically just playing for first. We should be able to just beat everybody. There's very few boards that are going to beat me. But here, this is the part where I kind of misplay. I didn't notice that guy off on the Samira. And I'm not properly scouting. I'm just scouting the people that I'm fighting against. So I'm giving that guy a chance to win the game. And when you're in this spot, you should not give anybody a chance to win the game. I have free rerolls. I should just be rerolling. I'm also holding 4 costs. I'm holding a Jinx. And I'm holding a Seraphine, because I'm imagining like maybe I can play Jinx or Seraphine instead of the Zyra, if that's better with AoE damage, because I have Star Guardian with the Rel. But I shouldn't be doing this. I should be properly looking and properly seeing if that other guy's going for Samira 3, or if he's close to Samira 3, because then I should be selling the 4 costs and rolling for the Samira, because my board is fucking Exodia. Look at this shit. I have a red buff on a Shen, and does this fight look close to you? Does this fight look close to you? I have round 2 on my Swain. It didn't even proc yet. I beat this guy down a fruit. Like literally, I beat him down a fruit. My Swain fruit did nothing that fight. I hit another Dawn Core, by the way. That's 3 for 3 Dawn Cores. If this was like, if I was in a 4 fun tier, I would have just gone triple Dawn Core on Kog'Maw just for the fucking hell of it to see what would happen. But I don't know if it's like an exclusive item or anything. It might be exclusive. Now I finally noticed that guy's one off Samira. He's also going for Set, so I hold the Set. And now I'm going to start rolling. But as you can see, it's like very late. I could have been doing this earlier, and it would have been a little bit more effective. This is called me being a dumbass, right? This is how you throw a game. Because now I'm just going to roll to 0. Watch this. Like, I have to fix my items. I'm going to make sure the item is fine. I'm doing this really slow. I have to roll deeper. I have to roll faster now. Now I leave the items because I fixed my Shen. I double check he sold Set, so now I can sell Set. I sell the sets. I'm buying it by default. I'm rolling. I'm gonna roll basically to 0. I'm trying to roll as fast as I can. I don't have it in the team planner because I'm an idiot. I didn't plan ahead. I buy a Kali because I thought it was a Samira by accident, and the guy hit Samira 3. GG. You know, my fucking bad. You know, that's just a skill issue, because I could have easily seen this. Anyways, first of all, there's two things to note about this board. One thing is that this guy does not really, like, he has Sundering, but it's on a Jin Zhao, so I guess it's fine. But also, this guy has a Samira, and he doesn't have On the Edge. He has the fucking Shadow Clone. But anyways, yeah. For those of you who have not seen this before, I was not really that worried, because I've seen this spot happen. I think it actually happened. It didn't happen to me, but I understand how strong this is. And a lot of people try and like sugarcoat, like, you know, it's not that strong. It's not that good. Yeah, okay. So that guy has fucking Samira 3 and 8 Soul Fighter, right? He doesn't have Gwen 2, mind you. So like maybe that's the problem with his board. But I think his combat augments aren't even that bad. He has infinite belts, they give HP, and infinite swords. His Samira items are great. He has Shred, he has Sunder, he has anti-heal. Does he have anti-heal? Okay, maybe he doesn't have anti-heal, but yeah, my Shen is Exodia, by the way. Unending Despair, my Shen constantly shields, so he's dropping nukes of damage. But yeah, this Kog'Maw, as long as my Swain lives long enough, the Samira is too slow. She can't one-tap the front line because I have 6 Bastion in. This guy just loses with Samira 3. He went 4th. That's how Exodia this is. This is why I say, like, Kog'Maw is fucking annoying to play against. Because not only can these players hit so early, it's, like, bad. I gave him a sad face. I wanted to say, like, sorry that the set is bad. Like, you know, like, I don't know what to say there. Because I was annoyed on his behalf. But, like, everything I say just seems like a taunt. I just give him a sad face. I feel like that's, like, the least toxic thing to do. But it's sometimes toxic. But I give him a sad face, you know, whatever. Like, I undeafed. I tried to smooth it over. And he just said Unreal. And then he just left. So he's probably tilted off his mind. But yeah, do you think, if I beat Samira 3, do you think I'm going to struggle with this board? Like, fuck no. I didn't position for the Braum, though. This is a little bit scary. I need my Kog'Maw on the same side as the Jinx. And I need my Swain closer so that the Jinx is absorbing Jinx damage. But it just so happens that my front line is so tanky that it doesn't matter at all. Look at this shit. Balanced. Right? That's how artifacts are, right? It's fun the first time you see it, but like I've been on the receiving end of this so many times. Like Dawn Core on the Kog'Maw, even if I didn't hit Lynchbane, like Lynchbane is like icing on top of the cake, but if I had just the Dawn Core with the Archangels, it would be equally as oppressive in my opinion. It's just crazy. Here I see this guy rolling. I don't know if he's rolling for 5 cost or Jinx or whatever, but he's just rolling a bunch of stuff and he's invested. So I can't pay attention enough to know. So I'm just like trying to buy everything. I know I missed a Jinx on this roll down. But I thought he was going for a 3-star 5 cost because he held so many 5 costs on his bench. But I'm just rolling now for extra Jinxes if I can. And whatever I can do because the fight's over. I'm not going to level 9. But we're not going to make it. So I'm just doing my due diligence because I can't be scouting him to see what he's hitting. I just have to roll. But this positioning is a lot better. Braum positioning is bad for me again, but he's starting on the Shen. But this is much better because now Braum's not going to stun my Swain until 2nd, which is fine. And I instantly go onto the Jinx because I have the Kog'Maw. Yeah, and there's just fairies everywhere and GG. Like, shake my hand, the game is over. But that's what happens, right? That's why I always say, right, when I was ranking the Prismatics, plus 46 LP, we'll take it. But that's what I always say, right? I'm always like, hey guys, it's broken, it's Exodia. That's what I mean by Exodia. Once I hit Kog'Maw 3, I was not worried at all. When I had Kog'Maw 1, I wasn't worried. When I had Kog'Maw 2, I wasn't worried. I could have rolled a little bit more efficiently, yes. I could have rolled deeper earlier, save more HP. Maybe manage my econ a little bit better, make it to level 9. I could have rolled earlier for the Samira to avoid the scare of this guy having Samira 3. But no matter what, not a concern. It wasn't scary at all. Because that's just how powerful the Kog'Maw is with the artifacts. So hopefully that was fun. Hopefully that was enjoyable. And hopefully that was a nice VOD review. I tried to mention or talk about stuff to make it as interesting as possible. Tomorrow might be a little bit more of a review on a mech game, I think. So if you're interested in that, we'll see. I just remember it going poorly. I think I got RNG scammed. So I'm curious to rewatch it to see what I did right or wrong. It was the game I played before this one. So this one's kind of like a payout for that one being bad RNG. But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. See ya. Bye-bye.